Welcome back, guys. We have made it through 3 solid weeks of hard at work. I can't believe it's already almost October and we're only in the third week. Thank you, EA Sports, for that. I can't thank you enough for the delay, but at least you've made your game somewhat playable. So tonight we're joined by Danny. What's up, man?
It's just another lovely night here. We are missing one person, obviously, tonight, but I don't know how we're gonna make it by a full show without Raider here. I'm just terrorized by the thought of that.
Yeah, I know. He had to bail out on us and prepare for his upcoming game against Ranchi, which should be within the next hour. So, no raging Brenton tonight.
Yeah, I think he got all of that out of his system when he had 6 turnovers last week.
Yeah, he couldn't have done that against me. I don't know why. That would have easily helped me push past the Cowboys. But I did. I can just imagine his rages on them turnovers.
Oh, it was something. It was definitely something to hear on the headset, but we're not gonna get into the exact details of how many cuss words were used and things of that nature. But we got a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, a lot of great games last week. I was disappointed. The fact I think the Green Bay Kansas City game went to a sim in the end, I believe, or maybe a computer play. I don't think the two users actually played regardless, which was a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
But
and that's the bad thing about picking these games of the week. You never know when something's going to happen, and we're going to miss out. So we'll just touch quickly on that game. The Packers end up winning it by 13 of a score of 34-21, and put up 377 passing yards with 4 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. Alex Smith flawless on Kansas City. So I would have to say the Packers were the user team.
yeah, like I said, I'm not 100% sure that it was. I'm pretty sure it was a CPU game, but it was a.
Jamal Charles back down to earth, really bad. 22 carries for 41 yards. So he's declining from his opening week, but Eddie Lacy on the other side of the ball, 19 carries for 169 yards. That's a pretty big game from Eddie Lacy. So
Yeah, well, that 72-yard long run will help out with that a lot.
yeah, it's always nice seeing your running back break one long for you. That definitely helps pad the stats a little bit and gives you a big momentum boost. So I wish the daddy leagues showed when they scored and time of possessions and stuff. But we're just gonna have to say the Packers, can't really use that long run to their advantage. I hope so. We'll get to your game of the week. With
Yeah, I
that
think
one,
I think this actually was a huge shocker to a lot of people. It was the Dolphins and the Bills. Obviously, a lot of people known it's a known issue that Keller's been struggling offensively in this game, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with him just not simply having the time to learn how this game is. Because I do think this Madden 16 is a lot different than Madden 15. But this game actually had a huge impact. The AFC East is a division that's going to slowly and slowly get pulled away from by the Patriots, who are quite possibly the strongest team in the AFC right now. And Keller Keller just offensively continues to struggle. Final score 23-10 with the Dolphins picking up the win. The rookie legacy player that the Buffalo Bills brought over, Spriggs, 2 interceptions, 14 of 23 for only 136 yards. He did seem to get his running game back a little bit, but he couldn't get it done when it matters offensively. And when you can't put up points on the board, obviously John Madden commentary here, you're not going to win the game.
yeah, that was a complete shocker seeing the Bills get beat the way they did. Nothing against Arlen because he just destroyed the Jets today.
Yeah, mind you, Arlen came from Madden 15, being in the best division HaW had of the AFC West, I believe. where all 4 users basically almost posted a winning record every year. And he played tough competition over and over. And as you know, the more you play tough people, the better you're going to get. So it's not surprising from Arlen. It's just, I think the most surprising, I would actually say the most surprising thing of HaW so far is the fact that Buffalo Bills can't seem to get it together currently. You know, Keller likes to down himself and say he's not the best user. He just wins through preparation. But I know a lot of people would disagree with that. I do want to say a key stat of this game is it looks like every defensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins actually got a sack. The D line for Miami definitely putting in work against an O line in Buffalo that Keller has said that he's not a big fan of currently.
Yeah, it's hard to win games when you're getting sacked 4 to 5 times a game. I've struggled with sacks in my first 3 games, so I'm hoping to continue to pick that up. I've brought in some help in pass blocks, so we'll see how that goes. But Bo Spriggs only having 136 yards and 2 interceptions is definite downfall. It looks like Keller still got his rushing yards in, but 63 of them came to 1 play. So
a lot of people like to make out the Buffalo Bills having a great defensive unit as well, and I'm not going to deny that, but I'm not sure the Buffalo Bills currently have a player in HaW that's a playmaker. No one. It doesn't seem like anyone's really making plays for him on defense, causing turnovers, getting interceptions, getting sacks even. When you have as good of a defensive line as he does and you're still not putting sacks on the board, then you're obviously going to have a problem. Now, I do want to bring up one thing that obviously came from this game. I don't think it was a direct result of this game happening, but Keller came in the chat box, dropped a live bomb saying, "Hey, I think I might be getting ready to hang up the proverbial commissioner gloves here." He hasn't been having a great season. Obviously, he said he's getting older. I think he's like 40 now, 31, 40. I don't know. He's old. That's the point. And obviously, when we get older in life outside of video games starts to take over more. And it proceeded to really shake things up because a lot of people in the league came out and said, Keller leaves, we're going to leave, yada, yada, yada. And I think that's a big point of controversy right now. A lot of people are still wondering if Keller's leaving. I think Keller's actually trying to get in the chat currently, so he maybe can say something himself. Last I heard, I think the plan was he is planning on leaving, but it's not something that's going to happen in the immediate future. So what are your thoughts on that, Iabo?
Man, I've dealt with Keller over the past few years a lot with soccer other than, NFL and NCAA leagues. And, being in his league that he practically built from what I've understood, I'd hate to see him go. He's done a good job. I'm happy with what I've seen here. There's always great commissioners, but it's hard to break the ice as a new commissioner if that is to happen. Coming in a league where everyone's kind of tightly knit here. So I would hate to see Keller go because everything that he does. But there's times that I've gotten down on a game and it's not necessarily been I'm losing. It's just the game isn't fun to me anymore.
I think that's what he stated. He just wasn't having fun playing this Madden. So there's no telling. I'm not 100% sold that he will leave at some point. But I guess that's something that he can talk about. I think he's actually going to be here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, it looks like he's connected in.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes, sir.
What's up, gentlemen?
How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, just got done doing some work, eating some dinner, settling in for a nice, relaxing evening.
Did you get that sweet Fokker game in yet?
I think we're scheduled to play tomorrow at the moment.
Okay. So, obviously you're coming in basically in the middle of a conversation where, I'm not sure if you've been listening this whole time, but we were talking essentially about you. Is there anything you'd like to say about your plans for the future? Do you guarantee seeing yourself leaving before too long, or What do you think about that?
I'm certainly not going to make any guarantees about anything. I was explaining to a few people and PMs and such today. Uh, Life has just been very busy since about July. Um, I just haven't been able to participate and get as much, excuse me, as much out of the league as I have in the past. It's really kind of in combination with just getting the league up and running and all of the trades and all the administrative overhead is just it's just really weighing on me lately is all.
Yeah,
So I think everyone kind of saw that come out in chat box last night. So there are
and I
no
think
there are no immediate plans or anything like that to leave, um, but I did hear a lot of positive feedback today from people through PMs and stuff that has me encouraged. So a little bit re-energized today, certainly.
yeah, I definitely don't think a lot of people in chat and just in the league in general understand of how much stuff goes on behind the scenes that you can't see in the chat box. Which we've seen drama that have come from trades that no one will know about other than the trade committee. God only knows what kind of message you get outside of that. So it's definitely, I can understand it's a very big time commitment to run this league, and I would like to say thank you for that. Obviously, I think you've done a great job so far.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thanks.
So you said you were a little re-energized. Does that mean you're re-energized about the game? Do you think you can still turn it around, or do you see yourself, if you do continue to play, struggling through this first season?
It's really just going to depend on if I can put in the work, right? I mean, that's the bottom line is I just haven't had the time to dedicate to actually be good at the game, regardless of my roster, which is admittedly not as good as I was hoping. Wasn't able to pull off a couple of trades I was trying to angle for, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not good at the game. If you watched the Miami game, you saw my defense making no plays, wasn't able to confuse Arlen at all, pretty much did whatever he wanted. You couple that with an offense that can't score, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, would you agree that this, my personal opinion, I've said this on multiple shows now, that this is almost a new game in a sense. There's a lot of new mechanics. Running the football is a lot different than it has been in Madden 15. Would you agree that this is, in a sense, a new game and having to kind of relearn how to play both offense and defense?
I don't think so. I mean, football is football. The biggest change is the catching mechanics. But I mean, at the end of the day, at least when you're throwing the ball, you still have to make good reads and call plays that can break down different zone coverages, whatever coverages you're trying to attack. I just haven't been able to effectively do that. Um, like I said, I mean, you've seen the stats. I haven't been able to throw. I haven't been able to run. I haven't been able to score. So.
Now, I would say that offensively, like I've said before, I don't think you've ever been like the greatest offensive user. Obviously, I've always felt that your defense wins you a majority of the games, and
Sure.
it has seemed like your defense doesn't have the same oomph this cycle. Do you think that's a product of just talent on the defense, or just not figuring out how exactly to put it together on the field currently?
It's a combination of a lot of things. Most of it is just confusion. I just haven't been able to confuse people, and able to get, pressure with my front four, or when I'm rushing five, not able to get pressure, not able to make people think I'm running one thing when I'm actually running something else, or drop into zones, make timely interceptions, things like that. But I mean, the other thing too is the players just aren't performing. I mean, I've got a great front four, and they aren't making plays. I don't really have an explanation for that. I can't control everyone. I can't pass rush and cover the middle, and so it's been an all-around disappointing season, certainly.
So, as commissioner, I'm sure you've seen a lot of what goes on in chat, and obviously one of the last year we had the 0-1 trap as the infamous cheese play. This year it's strongly becoming toss plays, becoming the cheese plays. I personally, like I've said, I haven't noticed toss plays being too strong. I seem like I'm getting stopped after 2 yards per play. mind you, I don't have the best halfback. But do you strongly agree that the toss play is pretty cheesy right now, or what's your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't have enough experience with the game to say one way or another. I feel like the times that I've run it, I have success sometimes and not others. It maybe feels a little bit better than your traditional running plays, but not crazy overpowered. But again, I don't have a ton of experience playing the game, so.
But do you have any questions here you wanted to get in?
Yeah, what would be your, let's say you were going to retire as commissioner, would you still be likely to stay in as the Bills and hang out with us?
It's hypotheticals is where we're going with it. I can't say honestly. I don't really have any sort of plans as far as what's going to happen if I step down. So, don't know.
Yeah, because I know you talked about, not having a lot of time to get the feel of the game and everything,
Nope.
So maybe if something were to happen, that'd free up some time for you. Definitely no one wants to see you in this league.
What are your thoughts on your division this year from everybody you've played? Obviously, Strauss has come out looking good. Arlen's come out looking good. The Patriots have come out looking good. Would you say your division this year is stronger than it was last year?
I don't know about it being stronger than last year. I mean, Horden was in the division last year, and contrary to what everyone thinks, I mean, I played Strauss and Daddy on multiple occasions in really tight games, so I don't think that that's really fair. But I mean, I think the division's good. I think Arlen is, as I said when we created the setup that we did this year, I said that our people were really selling Arlen short. And I think he's proved it thus far. I think the new Patriots owner is playing with a good roster and has a good game plan of how, to be effective in the game, and I think he's only going to get better. Seems like a good guy. I want to say that too. The game that I played with him, I had a little bit of feedback for him. I thought he took it really well, so I think the division's got great potential this year.
No, obviously, we all know the big trades that were made. Obviously, the LaShawn McCoy trade might be one of the biggest ones made. Not to mention the Percy Harvin trade. The Bills, I'm not sure how many people around the league have noticed, the Bills have an amazing draft stockpile of picks currently. So if you do play out season one and get to the draft, you're going to be set to build this team in the first 2-3 rounds of the draft. Can we expect Keller to do what Keller does best and draft 2 or 3 linebackers in the first and second round?
I mean, the linebackers, I guess they'll be high on my priority list as always, but I'll be looking for offensive linemen. I've made that pretty clear. There's really only one offensive lineman I'm keeping. That's Cordy Glenn. The rest are probably going to be turned over in the next season or two. So offensive line is definitely priority one.
Now we've seen that you've been on the selling end essentially. Like you're bringing over draft picks by giving away players. What are your thoughts on the exact opposite of that, which we've seen done where people are selling draft picks to bring over quality players? Do you think that's more of a win now mode, or do you think that's people just rather having a known quantity over quality? Or reverse?
It's probably a little bit of both, right? I mean, there are some teams that probably think they're better positioned to get out to a strong start in season one and sell tickets and build confidence to try and snowball that into a good season two and so forth. And there are probably teams that that just think that trading away picks for proven players is a simpler strategy than trying to figure out trying to hit on a couple of picks and build your roster that way.
Do you feel confident when it comes to the draft this year? I don't know. I know you've said you haven't had a lot of time to play around, but if you've done any offline CFMs with the new scouting system, do you feel confident with the way that is in securing good picks in the top rounds, or do you still think it's more of a gamble?
It's definitely more of a gamble than it was. certain positions are easier than others. I don't think that that's anything new. The real issue, well, it's two things. Number one is what's going to happen if we can ever simulate and how that's going to work with scouting. And I just lost my train of thought on what the other item was, but yeah.
Obviously, I think that is a big thing that's going to be questioned growing in this season is how season 2 will be handled. Because if we don't end up simulating any seasons, it'll probably be because they haven't patched the offensive lineman pass block getting butt wrecked in sim seasons. But if we don't have a sim seasons, can you put more value on older players then, because they'll actually be playing more games, and maybe value draft picks less because you'll have less seasons to develop them?
Yeah, I think you're already seeing it a little bit. You're seeing veteran, older players with a little more value than what they had previously. So I think you're definitely already seeing that.
Would you have any more questions?
Man, I think he's hit it on all four cylinders there, coming in, getting on the show.
He had his answers ready. I couldn't stump him with anything.
I know.
I thought the
like you guys.
linebacker
I like to
question
talk a lot. I like to talk a lot.
thought the linebacker question would get him for a second, but he was ready. You can tell he's a little professional here. So is there anything you'd like to say to HaW in general? I think we probably have more people honestly listening now than we have for live shows in the past, just because you're on. People wanted to hear what you have to say. Is there anything you'd like to say to HaW in general?
No, I don't think so. I think things have gone about as smooth as they can for the first 3 weeks. I will say we've had 0 gameplay complaints, which I was really happy about so far. But
You gotta wait for people to catch on to the toss cheese, man.
We've had no trouble backfilling some of the departed owners. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say other than keep up the good work, keep playing your games, enjoy the league, continue to participate, create content. Not a lot of people do stuff like what Ryan does, which I think is pretty unique. But I like seeing stuff like that, content like that. I read that stuff religiously on my phone or when I'm at work. So
He probably just made his day saying that on the radio. He's always bitching about not getting enough press time.
no, I love reading the Rams Post and any kind of Team Hub stuff. People writing about their teams and how they're doing and what their long-term plans are or short-term plans are, things like that. That's what keeps me engaged with the league, especially when I can't participate, so I have to rely on other people's content.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. I like to do this every time I talk to somebody when it comes to radio shows and whatnot. Obviously, we're only 3 weeks in, not even 4. You haven't been able to watch the league a majority of the time, but if you had to pick 2 people to play in the Super Bowl today, what 2 teams from the AFC? What team from the AFC and what team from the NFC do you think is going to get there?
Let me pull up the standings real quick.
Now I'll bring up a couple. Obviously, Horton, who everybody thought for some reason would struggle in Tennessee, is still sitting here at 3-0. The Patriots owner 3-0. Troy at 3-0. I think the AFC is really top heavy. I think those 3 users are going to be really hard to beat in the playoffs.
I think. Let's see. I think probably the best combination of user skill and roster talent in the AFC that I'm aware of is probably the Denver Broncos and Otto. So let's go with Denver from the AFC. I'm sure Troy will give them a run for his money. I'm sure the Patriots will be there. I'm sure Miami will be there. Who knows what Horton can do with that Tennessee roster, but that'll be my pick from the AFC. From the NFC, Green Bay looks strong. Danny, your Falcons look good. And then Raiders. Who did Raider lose to?
It was me last week.
Ah, there you go. So
Yeah, I'm his kryptonite.
Those would probably be my top picks in the NFC: Atlanta, Green Bay, Dallas.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Huskers having such a good year in Green Bay after playing with, I believe, Baltimore pretty much all last cycle.
Hmm
Obviously Green Bay's roster is way different than Baltimore's, so
It's only given up 38 points on the year. That's the second best scoring defense behind your defense.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I haven't played the right people yet, or maybe it is the wrong people yet. But a lot of people saying offense is too easy, and so far well, obviously I played Fokker, so my stat lines are going to look really good because of that. But I just haven't had much trouble when it comes to defense so far.
Well, feel free to share some of your tips, man.
I'm just gonna say Beasley. I mean, I just cheese Beasley all game, and
He's
when
6 sacks. That's pretty nice.
when somebody's only got .5 seconds to throw the ball. But no, I just think I don't know. My team's playing above their ratings. Front four plays really good. I actually think I have the best 1-2 punch at cornerback in the game with the legacy player coming over as well.
Yeah, a
But
lot of people that took legacy corners are in really good shape at corner because of having that young, really fast, really talented corner.
yep, I still think cornerback in this game, at least so far, is the most important position on defense. I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like middle linebackers, or at least my middle linebacker, isn't doing pretty much shit on defense. But having a great corner that can make those the catch animation stops is paying off pretty big.
Nice.
All right, Ivo, where do you want to head now?
We can go to hit my notes. Man, really, we've covered almost everything other than hitting up the divisional leaders and go with those, and then pick our week 3 game of the weeks and shut her down.
All right, just a quick touch here. Not going to waste too much time on this. When it comes to divisions in the NFC, Dallas Cowboys doing what the Dallas Cowboys have done pretty much the entirety of HaW in both cycles so far, sitting atop the NFC East. The NFC West, which I still think is going to be the most competitive division in all of HaW in terms of user skill being so close. Cardinals sitting atop of that at 3-1. Seattle 2-1, still yet to play their game this week. Green Bay and Minnesota looking like they're going to run away with the North. Green Bay at 3-0, Minnesota at 2-1. And then I'm still sitting atop the South currently with the Carolina Panthers and Coach and his Buccaneers at 2-1.
Yeah, the AFC's shaping up to look pretty tough. The Patriots sitting at 3-0 with the Dolphins at 3-1. That could be easily a tied division after the Patriots game. The Jets quickly to follow at 2-2. Broncos and Raiders have a 2-game advantage, 3-0 over the rest of the division. A 3-way tie for the AFC North at 1-2 between the Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals. Last we had looked, the Steelers were trailing to the Ravens, but they are going to replay, it looks like. So that could turn out differently. And heading down to the South, we have the Titans sitting ahead at 3-0, followed by the Jags at 2-1, and the rest of the division winless.
Now, just a quick note to touch on stats. I think something interesting is through 4 games, Geno Smith already has 10 interceptions for the Jets. If you do the pace, that's a fourth. If you'd multiply it times 4, Geno Smith is currently on pace to throw 40 interceptions by the end of the season. Obviously, I don't think he'll get there, but a lot of very high interception numbers through 3 games, basically.
That number is actually deflated by 1 due to an interception thrown for a pick 6 on a 2-point conversion, which resulted in 2 points for the Eagles. So,
all right, let's get to the games of the week here. Obviously, without Raider here, Keller, I do want to put you on the spotlight. If you had to pick one game this week that hasn't been played yet, what game are you most excited to watch?
Why don't you come back to me last? I'm looking over the games right now.
All right, Ivo, if you want to kick it off, and I'll take it from you there.
Yeah, I chose. Actually, I chose the Bills versus Giants. Uh, I think this is Keller's rebound week. Fokker, got the win thanks to his computer coach uh, bringing it up for him against the Redskins, against the new user. But I really think the Bills have their turnaround and figure out what they're doing this week. Uh, the Daddy League predicted score is 23-17, but I actually predicted a 24-0. I think the Bills defense can get it going and use Fokker here and get what needs to be done. And they're at home, so that's the key advantage for the Bills. I think playing on the road and hard at work is going to be a tough thing to do, and I think the Bills at home beat the Giants this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a little more of a personal direction here because this is a divisional game here in the NFC South between the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sean has come out and Sean has won some impressive games with Carolina. I believe he's beaten RFF in Houston, who obviously have struggled some, but he also beat Raunchy, which is another divisional game in the South. This is basically his true test. If Sean is going to make a statement game and say, hey, I know everybody's talking about greatness, Raunchy, and Coach, but there's a fourth team here in this division, then he's going to have to show it here against Coach and the Buccaneers. Coach, I don't like talking about Coach that much, but his last game against the Houston Texans, he threw for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. Each of his 3 6'5" targets, and Austin Safarian Jenkins, Mike Evans, and his linebacker of a wide receiver, who I'm not even going to attempt to say his name because his first name looks weird, but Ajala, each broke 300 yards each in that game. Obviously, I'm going to pick Coach. I don't think Sean is quite ready to step into the upper tier of the NFC South, but this will be his chance to prove it.
Yeah, I think Coach and the Bucs are gonna win that game. Coach has said that he cannot stop defense, wise. So I think it could be another high-scoring affair. I think Coach wins at least by 2 scores, though. But it definitely will be the Panthers' chance to get one in right here on the road.
Interesting fact here. Coach is scoring 37.7 points per game, which is the 4th best in the league. But he's also given up 38.7 points a game, which is 30th in the league. So Coach has a lot of work to do defensively to get this roster turned around in time for a playoff push. All right, Kelly, that's our 2 picks. We've given you some time here. What game are you looking forward to?
I think you guys are overlooking some old rivals from Season 1 in HaW, or I guess the Madden 15 cycle. Raider and Raunchy matching up this week. New Orleans has a lot to play for, a lot to prove. I know they're kind of in rebuild mode right now, but I don't see Raunchy laying down, and Dallas coming off of a tough loss, it sounds like, to the Falcons. So
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a great matchup that I look forward to seeing the result of.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with you there. When you look at it division-wise, if Raunchy goes to 1-3 to start the year in the South, it might be curtains for him there. It's going to be tough to come back from 1-3. And you have the Cowboys, who have Ibo and the Eagles, and obviously Fokker at 1-2 himself. You want to get a big lead in your division early on, and you can't afford to lose back-to-back games, and that's what Raiders in trouble with doing currently. I would like to say I think Raider will pull it out. Raiders played solid defensively. But Raunchy just has to figure things out, and I think he's still struggling with that.
Well, he lost week 2 against Coach. We know how good Coach is, and he lost week 3 against the Panthers. So he's played some good competition thus far.
Yeah, I think the Panthers game was a little surprise for me. I didn't think, as far as I can remember, I never remember Sean being like an upper tier user. But statistically wise, I don't think he did anything really great in that game as much as Raunchy just making bad mistakes throwing the ball, which is pretty much what Raunchy is known for. Like, if you play turnover free against Raunchy, you have a really good chance of winning the game.
Yeah, the Cowboys coming off, you said 6 turnovers against
Oh yeah, it was brutal.
against the Falcons. So if this turns into a turnover city, who knows what's going to happen in New Orleans? Looking at the red zone statistics, Raiders 100% in the red zone, where Raunchy is only in the mid 80s. So, Raiders getting the ball in when he needs to, and Raunchy's not. So we'll have to see what goes from there. But if you look at Cowboys rushing yards allowed, he's not allowing very many. So that's going to be a big factor. I think LaShawn McCoy is going to put it to the Saints. I think he'll break over 100 yards and help the Cowboys advance on. As bad as I hate to say it, because I need a Saints win here to go ahead and put me tied for first if I can come away with a Redskins victory. So.
Yeah, I like to look at it as like this as well with Raider. His week 1 matchup was against Fokker, and Fokker I think is worse in Madden 16 right now than he was in Madden 15. His week 2 game was against you, Ivo, and y'all had a 2017 game, a close game. I don't think Raider has really proved to me yet this cycle that he is still great in the league. I think his first big test, honestly, will come the week after this one when he has to play the Patriots. I think that'll be a game to watch out for.
Yeah, he told me today that he was planning on sweeping the AFC East. So, in order for him to sweep the AFC East, he has to beat the Patriots, and that's going to be a big test. And even the Dolphins, that's definitely another big test for him in that sweep of the AFC.
Yeah.
So.
Don't forget about the Bills there either. They're also in the AFC.
Bills. I'm only right here.
I love the Bills.
I mean, you could name every team but the Bills is the way you were going with that.
I almost did, but I didn't.
I was looking at stats. I think I'm like the 5th or 6th worst scoring offense right now, if I'm not mistaken.
How far behind you? I'm terrible.
Just not putting up any points. It's killing me.
I had 8 takeaways and only scored 21 points. Or 22 points. That's amazing. It shows weakness, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah, I've only thrown 1 interception on the year, knock on wood. I'm just very happy about that.
I figure my first one comes against the Redskins. I just have that feeling. I can't go 4 straight weeks, no interceptions.
All right, Keller, it was great having you on the show, man. Obviously, you don't get much opportunity to come on and really talk to everybody. We appreciate you joining us this evening. Do you want to give any parting words here before we close the show?
Just my usual, fuck Jordan. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah, thanks, Keller, for being on. And anytime you want to come on, feel free. What the hell is this birthday cake? I have no idea what the hell's going on.
All right. But take it home, Ivo. Send them home happy.
We will return Thursday as I'm eating cake here. And I have a hard hat and beard on. But thanks for watching, and thanks, Keller, for being on today. And we will be back with Brenton and Danny live Thursday night. So till then, have a good one.
I just want everyone to know I have not been wearing pants for this whole show.
And now we have it.